and gave them the map choice, they're gone. Although, it does give us the chance of
Medivh, Genji, there's a lot of heroes that, quite frankly, SPT just excels at.
Team.
Yeah, full protected team, Varian. But no, actually, now that we see the Battlefield of Eternity locked in here, it reminds me that we haven't seen this battleground in quite some time. Was it always banned?
Banned or just not picked?
Wow.
It was banned a lot, though, but yeah, we're seeing it coming back in. Was it actually against... I need to check. Was it actually against HotsLady that they actually did the... Yes, it was. It was on this map against HotsLady in the first week that they did the Cho'Gall. And as such, HotsLady, remember, they banned out the Ariel.
Yeah. Remove Cho'Gall's best buddy, the Ariel, and just don't give him any chances to really sustain that big boy. However, that being said, there are other support choices that work very well with the Cho'Gall, like Rehgar, Earthshield value, Ancestor healing value. There could still be an Uther. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, totally possible still.
So yeah, it's definitely feasible. We will have to see if maybe they would want to take a page out of Bushido Esports book in the Open Division.
Tell us about it.
Did you see that game?
No, tell us about it.
So, you know Vortex and Lucifron.
Of course.
You know what they played before Heroes of the Storm?
StarCraft 2.
Okay. Which heroes lend themselves to that skill set?
Any hero that requires a lot of micromanagement. So the Vikings, maybe. Yeah. Maybe the Samuro.
Yep, they went with Mirror Image. They went with Illusion Master Samuro.
Wow. Okay.
They never even pressured Vortex. They never even got the chance. He was just always pushing top lane. Second a fight started, would teleport into one of his illusions that he left over there, would do huge damage to Immortal. They didn't stand a chance. But it was any time he was taking damage, he would swap out. It was beautiful StarCraft level micro in a Heroes of the Storm game.
Was it actually against a team that was respectably good, or was it just a stomp anyway?
Not really. It was a 2-0, but either way, the team looked okay, but it was a situation of I don't see even a good level team being able to outplay this kind of micro.
Similar scenario actually like here, right? SPT actually like 3-4 levels above HotsLady in terms of raw skill and mechanics and experience, so why not? Give it a try. I would be down for it. I mean, we have seen a Rainer coming out of nowhere and dominating. Not just, doing well, but dominating the enemy team.
So this has been Zuyu's thing the last couple of weeks. It's very much a situation of what out their picks can I make work? Sylvanas? No. Zagara? No. Rainer? Yeah. And getting that working in the end. Finally found a hero outside of the meta he could get going.
Well, yeah, it was definitely good to see. And if you guys just tuned in and you have no idea what we're talking about, well, just wait until the VODs are ready and make sure to watch them today, either on my channel here on Twitch or tomorrow or the day after tomorrow on the Heroes Esports YouTube. By the way, which you should totally check out. All of the games are normally being saved there. YouTube.com/Heroes Esports. Really solid source if you want to catch up on the VODs.
And speaking of catching stuff, for those of you who are joining us from the Battle.net client, which is a thing that has been happening recently, welcome. That is a thing. I saw it yesterday.
Are we famous now, Mommy? Are we famous now?
Are we famous yet?
Well, I just checked my Battle.net client and we're not there.
Oh, it was there yesterday.
Well, yesterday was no broadcast.
Yeah, that's not helpful, is it?
Oh no! Yesterday was the only day off, and I didn't even know we were in the browser.
It was definitely on. It was definitely on there. Like at DC, like when my internet was like flashing on and on, off and on, I could see like HGC China as a paused thing on there.
Oh boy. Okay, we're gonna have to talk about that again after the podcast is over today. No, but it's really cool to see. Like HGC China, if you just tuned in or if you're here relatively new, then you really, really need to stay tuned because it is by far one of the most enjoyable regions to watch. Not maybe just always in terms of perfect mechanical plays and decision making, but in terms of raw action and carnage.
You also get more variety in games. You get, for starters, you get Zuyu trying to try out some different stuff. You get very close games, and you also get to watch the Chinese teams versus Visas once BlizzCon comes around.
Exactly. There we go. So let's focus a little bit more on that draft. Actually, we've been...
I need to stop making that joke. Everyone knows.
We do see... Yeah, go ahead.
Band. We see Lunara Band, which is weird considering they could have picked it, but sensible seeing as SPT got to pick first.
Yeah. Weird indeed, especially considering the fact that Lunara, up to this point today, when playing against an Uther, is yet to be defeated. So, as Tetra said, they could have been the ones to pick it. Maybe they would have also expected SPT to pick it, though, because they realized, hey, we let that go through, we might as well just pick it now, otherwise we're going to be in trouble, at least Uther is. So, since SPT was picking first after the second ban phase, I think they wanted to just preemptively get it out of the way. So, with that in mind, it makes a little bit more sense now, at least.
Some Binny's circles waiting for SPT to pick their next hero. They still need ranged. With Lunara and Valor gone, their options have been limited. Maybe they will be forced onto the Reyna.
Yeah,
maybe
right.
that's where
look at that, by the way. Like, all of the top single target DPS machines are now either picked away for SPT or banned. Malthael, Vala, Lunara, Greymane. So what are they going to be left with here? The Liming, that's fine poke. It's strong damage if you go for the right build. If you don't go Orb build, ladies and gentlemen, don't do that. And yeah, what else is left? Maybe for the likes of Artanis, although they already have 2 warriors, that would be a little bit too much, I guess. Medivh, still an option, always a force to be reckoned with.
Sergeant Hammer.
True.
Could actually get some good value on this map, and they have been known to run it before. Tychus Sieging could work out. They could take a page out of CE's book and bring in a Sylvanas.
Yeah, Sylvanas.
Nazebo. Illidan, I like the Illidan idea. Malthael, they've got a... Oh, Malthael's banned.
The problem with Nazebo is it can work. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big Nazebo fan myself. However, the chance or risk of him falling a little bit short in the early game is just too high to make it work. However, we're talking about SPT here. They played Toad Zebo in the past in HGC China. They played a lot of Nazebo when other teams would never do it. So, while it has fallen out of favor, it's not really, you know, in fashion anymore, it's still possible. Genji would have also been a nice call here for Melody Z in particular, the best Genji in the league.
Very true. Let's see what they finish out with. I would argue as another range, the sustain range is the most likely one. I think the most sensible one here is probably Tychus.
Tychus makes a lot of sense, but how many targets do they have in the team that can actually be shredded? Anubrek, thanks to his low HP pool, not really the most valuable of targets. Sonya, kind of, you're right. I mean, the Odin is just really wonderful as well when it comes to zoning out enemies from your Immortal, forcing them to retreat, deals a lot of damage in those narrow choke points around the Immortal, so I wouldn't hate it. Wouldn't hate it.
It could Falstad, I guess. A little bit less
I don't like that one on the small map,
so they're going to be forced into a double mage. Or they have to go melee, like we said, in which case it would be Illidan or something like that.
Yeah, let's be honest here. There's so many choices that are still, you know, make a lot of sense.
I mean, there's nothing stopping him just going TAS and just running him auto attack build.
Well, let's see. We're gonna be wiser in a bit here. They go for the Cassia, which is nice. Cassia, of course, particularly awesome against those strong hitting Morgan attacks for Greymane, but also against the consistent Shuriken attacks by, you know, the Genji. It's actually okay. Very safe hero, very strong zone control there as well with spears and the fend. So, Tetcher, who would you give sway to? Who's got the better draft?
In terms of actual poke onto the Immortal, it's fairly clearly in favor of HotsLady, but that won't matter because they're never going to get close enough to poke. Because Arthas and ETC are just going to be too hard as frontliners. Cassia should be relatively safe even against Genji. I've got to lean in favor of SPT, even without the skill difference.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a large gap regarding individual skill, mechanical abilities and stuff like that. So even with a slightly weaker draft, I do agree with you, by the way. I think HotsLady has the slightly better draft. But even with a slightly weaker draft, SPT, they cannot be denied to be the big favorites coming into this. Well, let's find out. And you know, a team like HotsLady, they still have that mentality. Like, they don't care. They have nothing to lose. They need those points at all costs, so they might as well just play super recklessly, maybe catch an opponent like SPT off guard, and then snowball from there. On a map like Battlefield Return, you can snowball like crazy. If it's going to come true, though, we're going to find out in a few moments. HotsLady versus SPT. Let's go, baby. And for the first time on today's broadcast, we're taken to the battlefield of eternity with HotsLady in the blues. 365 on the Genji. Then we have again on the Rhaegar, Lias on the Sonya, Kid plays Nubarak, and Carlo, on the Greymane. They changed some roles.
They have, and on the right, probably not changing roles, is going to be SPT, with Jen Zhao and Cassia, Melody C playing the Li Ming, Misaka on ATC, Soap on Arthas, and ZZH on Uther.
Right, there's some interesting changes here on the side of HotsLady. Carlo, the main tank player, now on an assassin on the Greymane, whereas 365, who used to be the former support, is now on the Genji, but he's been playing this assassin role all season long, and it is going to be Kid, who is now playing the main tank and Nubarak. Cool to see. How much of an impact that will have, we will see.
Yeah, we will keep an eye on it. I'm curious to see how well Carlo plays in something that isn't tank. This will be cool
365. Holy, Melody C.
Yep, get chunked. Oh. We see Carlo, by the way, with the charge strikes, getting stunned up, but he's just able to walk around Kid, as Kid shall become first blood.
Yeah, that is of course the big threat for Nubarak. If Cassia activates those charge strikes, the level 1 talent, and of course if she lands that fend, she's gonna deal a heavy amount of damage onto the squishy bug. So, yeah, he's gonna be on his tippy toe. Kid here unfortunately falling and causing first blood. Look at those charge strikes! It's crazy! Quan Zhao is dominating already! And if you saw 2 days ago's broadcast, guys, you will remember how good this guy is mechanically on heroes like Vala and now on the Cassia too.
Yeah. And this is the thing about Cassia. She is very underestimated as a just general assassin, not just as a anti-auto attack hero. She does do really solid damage in a team fight. Her only weakness, I would argue, that means that like Valor and Lunara are consistently picked over her, is her range. Her auto attack range is slightly lower. That's the biggest weakness she has.
Here's something we could just see, you know, Melody C and ZZH both were trying to teleport back in order to make sure that they have enough mana for this first immortal phase. However, 365 for the Genji, he basically blindly predicted that and threw some shurikens into the bush, preventing Uther from going back. And as a result, he was forced to use the healing fountain. And as such, you know, maybe later on, during a longer skirmish, a longer drawn-out poke war, he's going to struggle from mana issues. Now, once again, Kid taking so much damage from those Cassia auto attacks.
Yeah, and SPT going with a defensive stance at the start, while Li Ming is the one mostly doing damage to the enemy immortal, but returning now that she can see 365 and Lias were hanging around the area, did not want to get herself caught out, and does not want to abandon her team.
Yep, for now a very patient start by both teams, both immortals sitting roughly at the same amount of HP, no major lead for either of the teams. Level 4 is going to be there a little bit quicker though for SPT, so they are most likely going to turn on the heat and the aggression a little bit sooner. Now, Li Ming, can we just agree on the fact that this is the coolest Li Ming skin in the game?
Yes, if it had themed abilities.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe one day.
In my opinion, maybe one day. For now, though, Li Ming is taking dominance, keeping it safe. Cassia keeping it standard. Not going for any fancy inner light or Plate of the Whale plays. We're going for the Ring of the Leech to just keep the sustain up. And Soap and ZZH taking lots of damage from 365. Good move there. Not able to finish off a kill, but it was enough to at least weaken ZZH, meaning he's going to have to burn mana or be back. Maybe I'll have a fountain. It does respawn a little bit quite quickly in the early game.
Yeah, we have the loudspeaker here coming in for ETC, allowing him to knock back further and from a greater distance. Very safe talent, especially if the enemy team has a lot of hard engage, like the Genji, like the Anubreg, like the Sonya. It's just a really, really cool adaptation, and wouldn't really be surprised to see a Pinball Wizard later on as well, to have a little bit more burst damage, also against, you know, neutral targets like the Immortal. So let's see. For now, though, SPT, you know, turning on the aggression a little bit, pushing those 2 towers. How much are they going to commit to this? The healing fountain, next target, very important, denying the healing for future team fights. And I think they're going to get this fort. HotsLady is way too passive.
Yeah, they're looking for an opportunity to try and defend, but they can't really get close enough to do so. They're too scared. Even the Cassie is playing so far forward, basically in melee range of that keep, to make to make sure that any move made by HotsLady could, 1, be reacted to with a lot of room, and 2, be engaged on if they went too greedy.
Yeah, oftentimes that's a phenomenon we can observe when, you know, a quote-unquote less skilled team, although HotsLady is still a damn good team for most of us casuals out there. But if a quote-unquote lesser team like HotsLady, when they face a top dog, like a big name like SPT, they will have or show too much respect. Whereas on other teams, they might have actually defended this very aggressively. They would have tried to keep them at bay. Against SPT, they're like, no, we can't really do that, right, guys? Can we? And everyone in this team is like, no, let's play it safe. Let's play it safe. And oftentimes this, you know, over-respecting can really cost them dearly, especially in the early game.
Indeed it can, as we do see SPT trying to throw around that respect that HotsLady is showing for as much as possible by keeping pressure on, playing very far forward. Cassia even just killing a wall here right next to a noob, just like, I dare you to make a play. But she does take her burst, Surging Light as the level 7 talent.
Yeah, there we go. Very cool. The explosion on her D trait, of course, causes Cassia to have an astounding amount of extra AoE damage, especially if the targets are blinded. So ideally, Cassia is going to try to follow up her W with her trait immediately and cause a massive splash of burst damage. Now, 365 on the Genji. He completed the first step of his Shuriken Mastery, dealing a little bit more damage now, which is always nice to have. And going back to this, you know, matter of having too much respect for your opponents. This used to be a crippling factor for many Western teams, both NA and EU, when playing against Korea for the most part, like MVP Black or Tempest, Ballistics Gaming. They were considered to be the best teams in the world by far, and only very recently was Fnatic able to really beat those guys at tournaments because they were like, you know, we don't have to fear them anymore. We are the better region right now.
Exactly. Words. The mental game can be a huge part of professional gaming in general. Just thinking other team is better than you can change how you play against them.
Yeah, very true. So HotsLady, they need to show us something. You know, they need to make something happen. They're already so far behind in terms of structures. Top fort is no more. In terms of immortal progress, they're actually doing well right now because simply they were rotating faster. So now they need to maintain this, right? They need to use Genji. They need to use the Greymane to poke a little bit more. And if they were able to really get this immortal pre-level 10, which is going to get much more quickly done by SPT, then they can really snowball and stabilize from there. But Anubrag in danger.
Gets blinded. Cassie is looking to move forward to try and drop final bits of damage to get the kill. Not enough to get the kill, though. But they do defend their own immortal well enough. Li Ming's already moved up to start on HotsLady's.
Yeah, that's exactly what they need to do here with, of course, the beautiful damage over time here provided by Li Ming and the Genji defending top lane. They're definitely starting to look a little bit more stable now. SPD that is catching up in terms of mortal progress, but still, level 10 takes a while. HotsLady, they really need to seize this opportunity, use this time window that they still have before the heroic abilities are there for SPT.
They are trying, and they're trying to put pressure onto the Immortal, make the most of this defense. But LEC is being forced to be, actually. He's out of mana, and as such, it is going to be SPT playing the defense as much as possible. HotsLady don't appear to know that Melody is beat. Otherwise, they would have gone far more aggressive. Good,
yeah, that is really cool. Like
that
was a good move here by Melody C, teleporting back in time and doing so in a vision obscured area. If he had shown himself while teleporting back, that would have been a good sign for HotsLady to go. And as such, he's back with full mana and he's turning on the aggression and bringing the pain.
Almost a full team blind there by Jen Zhao. Cleanse even used on Lias there. Wasn't required, but better safe than sorry. Sonya gets out.
Yeah, that was so much AoE damage to really compensate for HotsLady. There's only a Rehgar, no double support here. And keep in mind that once one target falls, like Anubrag was dangerously close to dying there, Li Ming just snowballs out of control. Rehgar gets caught. He was a bad doggy.
Yeah, got caught by the boss stuns. Down goes Greymane, the other dog. He is also bad. You see a noob. Wait for it.
What? What?
Wait for it.
Delaying the inevitable? Death coil?
Wait for it. Wait for it. Dang. There we go. 3,000 SPT total takedowns.
Yep.
That's a new one. A full team one. I like that.
Yeah, very impressive numbers here. Congratulations and shout out to the Super Perfect team here, getting a lot of blood on their hands. Let's put it this way.
I like that a noob basically just tries to delay the 3,000. Guys, this is our 3,000th takedown. Chase him. We must get this.
In the meantime, though, Anubrek did buy a little bit of time for his teammates to basically soak enough XP for that level 10, and all of a sudden, this Immortal doesn't really look half scary anymore, because the rig abilities are now ready. Some of the major ones on the side of SPT were used, like that Mosh Pit, for instance, but Divine Shield is still ready. Genji going in, they're trying to make something happen, but 365 gets popped!
Good route moving in. That's a good camera rotation. First time I've seen that used really well, as Lias it will also get killed off. Nicely done there with that route into the ETC, CC, and of course the Arthur Slow. They're charging through. The Immortal's already been dropped low, so it's unlikely they'll get the keep. Actually, they have a minion wave. They can certainly try.
I can't believe how Melody C on that Li Ming is just landing every single combo. The magic missiles, the arcane orbs followed by the disintegrate, everything just looks so easy. But if you've ever played with Li Ming in your Hero League or Team League games, you know that it's not easy. Because Li Ming, more often than not, will actually be rather unimpactful if her spells hit the wrong targets. So you really gotta give credit to the positioning by Melody C. Always trying to hit them from an angle where, you know, one of the big juicy frontliners like Sonya or Anubrek are not going to intercept the Arcane Orbs and the Magic's missiles, and as such, targets like Greymane, Genji, and Rhaegar, they melt like butter.
Yes, they do. They don't want, and they preferably do not want them to melt like butter. So as such, we do see HotsLady, actually, but I was about to say playing safe, but they're wrapping around. Anubrek was potentially looking for a kill, and as such, SPT moved forward to try and catch out Carlo. But HotsLady, they do move back. They're not going to let themselves get caught out, even though they are posturing quite aggressively.
Yeah, they're posturing quite aggressively. 13's around the corner. But so many Tetras... no, not so many
So
Tetras.
many Tetras.
So many structures have fallen already, Tetra. My apologies. Although, I wouldn't mind seeing a Tetra core at some point. The big old face.
I kind of like the idea of just the Too Many Cooks song, but it's only me.
Alright, you know. We go for the face smelt here on the side of ETC, going for an additional slow, which is kind of nice, you know, if you consider how many slows SPT now has at their disposal with the Arthas, the face smelt, making it a little bit easier for Cassia to land her abilities, making it much easier for Melody C to do the same, and Genji once again, uh-oh, buddy, repeat.
He's not even using Mosh Pit to, like, guarantee kills. He's just holding it, waiting for the perfect opportunity, and even if not, it's just a perfect zoning tool. Lias just hits Misaka, which does demount him. Attempted turnaround onto Melody C, not happening. The cocoon delays at least a little. And it's a nice dance that HotsLady are doing. They've basically managed to get everyone out except for Kid by just completely splitting.
Yeah. Poor ZZH, by the way, had to almost go through the entire cocoon duration. Oh.
Wait for it.
Man, this is a...
less time than last time.
Yeah, this is a resilient beetle. He just refuses to die that quickly. Anyway, though, it was cool to see how ZZH... Oh, no.
It's just a game of chases. It's just HotsLady fleeing across the map while SPT chase them down. That's all this game's turned into. Run again. He gets hit. There's the stun. And in the meantime, what have HotsLady achieved? While they can see the entire enemy team, they've stayed at their own Immortal and done nothing.
Yeah. SPT on a lady hunt here, basically. It's pretty rough, man.
Well, it sounds crazy.
I mean, you might as well, right?
One-man mosh pit by Genji. I mean, if you're going to one-man mosh someone, might as well be Genji. Ball Lightning, Leah stayed alive for a while, thanks to that whirlwind, getting the full five-man there. And we do see Melody C. He did clear up some of the minions that were hovering around. A laser and
Quanzhao, I think that is the 300th takedown in the league for Quanzhao. Oh, that's pretty cool. Man, it's just really rough. I would love to give you guys more, you know, strategic insight or tactical analysis of what's going on, but we gotta be honest here. It's just a brutal and merciless hunt on the ladies. Like, whenever they see a blue member on the battlefield, SPT is just collapsing on them, and there's very little that the ladies were, you know, able to do at this point. However, that was a nice combo, dealing a little bit of damage on Misaka here. No mosh pit at the ready. Divine Shield being used here. That was nice pressure, but it was probably the last chance they were getting when it comes to fighting on even terms here, because 16 is just around the corner for SPT.
It's 12-0. SPT almost have as many kills as the opponent has levels. As we do see the catapults already on the core, keeping it pressured. SPT, they're denying their own Immortal, they're capping the enemy one, it's popping the cocoon. Oh, but pressure onto Melody C is changed his mind. 365's like this was a bad idea. Ancestral lands, not getting any resets. The Surge of Light from Cassia doing huge AoE damage. Lias, the last hope, whirlwinding, desperately trying to do something. But all he's doing is dying.
Are we going to see another power slide here on again on the Regard? No, he's safe now. Man, did you see the value from Force Armor here, by the way, in Li Ming? Really shutting down all the hopes of Genji of ever trying to deal some damage on her. Like, in the moment, the Genji saw, oh, my Dragon Blade is not going to do much. He was basically exposed already, successfully baited into the backline, and then taken care of. That was so cool. Force Armor, my MVP talent here on Li Ming.
There is a good chance that SPT will actually finish this game with more kills than the opponent has levels. Fireflies is good, it gives more force armor, because it's low cooldown reduction.
Exactly, very good point. Astounding point, actually, very good.
Getting cocooned and denied with the disintegrate here, as Soap is just tanking through, not so keen on that flip, as we do see the Nubarak getting taken down. Down goes Lias. Will they get more? They're looking for Carlo, Divine Shield, not
Wash
even
pit.
Anyway, they want that team wipe, but Genji is juking him here. Carlo escapes through the gate. ZZH, no! The perfect score! The perfect score! Yeah, they survived. Yeah. And they finished with 2 more kills than the opponent had levels, as SPT take game number 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the powerhouse from China, known as Super Perfect Team, if, and here comes a big if, they play in full momentum and with their full roster. So I can wait to finally see them represent China at an international event, most likely BlizzCon next, if, you know, nobody in their team actually gets like visa issues, travel issues, because I think so far from what we've seen from them at the mid-season brawl and at the Eastern Clash, it really didn't do them justice.
They should just be starting the visa process like right now at this point, because there's very little chance